list of the topics, themes, and subject matter featured in this episode has been included in the video description below. Hey everyone, welcome to another one of our character origin stories for our Daggerheart The Last Arcanist campaign. Today I have with me a returning cast member. Jake, why don't you give yourself a little introduction here as before we dive into your character's origin story today?
Hello. It's Jake. Hi. I am so excited to get into this new character, new game. Very exciting. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
I guess I am supposed to say something about me.
Yeah, that's okay. It's all right.
So, you can find me at Hello Sturgis on all the socials and stuff like that. I do Dicescapes like audio stuff. I'm a cast member too. I played Reed, played Scott. I'm so excited. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. And I'm Kylie Rose, your storyteller, your guide on this journey as we dive into another one of our character's origin story. So sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy the ride. Ambition. It is a flame that warms the soul or consumes it whole. It is the architect of wonders, the force that carves civilization from chaos, and the whispers in the dark that lead some to ruin. What path shall you walk? Path to a great discovery, or one that will only lead you to the edge of madness? And that is where this origin story begins, as we fade in on a single candle flickering on a cluttered desk. We see it illuminates parchment upon parchment scrawled with arcane formulas, anatomical drawings of fungi, and diagrams of interconnected ley lines of Dwemer, resembling sprawling mycelial networks. Notes are layered over one another, frantic, as if written by someone racing against time itself. As we push out from this single flickering flame, we see a vast workshop filled with vials of luminescent spores, casting ominous, pulsing light across this chamber. We see glass tanks bubble with alchemical mixtures, and within them, fungal tendrils stretch out and coil, writhing as if responding to an unseen hand, some even reaching beyond their containers, creeping toward an arcane sigil carved into the floor. At the heart of this room, we see standing there a tall obsidian-framed portal, unfinished, unstable. A lattice of crystalline growths and fungal veins encased in its structure, pulsating in slow, rhythmic waves as if it is breathing. And next to it, we see a figure. Jake, could you describe what we see in this moment?
Of course, you see a kind of tall, lanky, almost Fearbolg-like man. He's got like purplish gray skin, white hair, and he's probably like mid-aged. I don't know. No, he's not too young. He's not too old.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping it ambiguous for the audience is great.
The mystery.
Yeah, the mystery. His robes are very like in dark purples and with like green accents and things like that. And he's frantically like kind of looking around, preparing for something, it looks like. And he kind of looks onto the other side of the workshop. Fiora, have we made the correct preparations for the coming experiment?
As you call out to Fiora, we would see this kind of younger, this young elven woman. Her hair is up in a bun. It's super disheveled. She looks exhausted, but she has a big smile on her face. She's got a leather-bound journal in her hand, and she says, "I think we're close. I mean, there's. I think we're missing a couple things, though. But I think there's just a couple more adjustments, and I think you might have. I think we should give it a test. I think you might have. I'm sorry. I'm so excited. I can't believe we've come this far. Do you need me to grab anything? I'm so sorry.
Well, what are we missing?
And I think you see she like pulls over a couple. She goes over to the shelf, and you see her kind of. She like has a little journal up against her face, and she looks up at the wall. I think, and she like looks down at her notes. She grabs a couple vials and she walks over to Cordelius. She says, "Cordelius, I think we need these ones. Based on what we hypothesized last night, I think this might be it. This might. I think this could do it, or at least get us a little closer."
Right. Well, I think this all looks. Fiora, hold on. This one here. I think we're better suited with that one, the purple one on the wall.
Oh, and you see she walks over, and you see she climbs up on a ladder, and she like moves it over, climbs up it, and you see she grabs it off, walks back down, and she places it in front of you.
Perfect, thank you. And he kind of grabs it from her barely without even looking, and would you do me a favor and write these calculations as I figure this out?
Of course. And she starts to, she grabs her, the journal there, flips open a couple pages with all the notes and everything that she's been taking for you. She says, "Ready when you are."
All right. And he kind of begins speaking out the steps that he is taking in his mind. And at some points he goes a little too far and he backs up, but he's not quite clear on he's like not quite clear on what he needs her to erase or how far he's going back. He's lost in it, but he knows that Fiora will keep up.
You see, like, I think as you like go to she like walks over like without you seeing, and she like moves a couple of things out of the way and just like puts it aside. She's like,
well,
you're doing great.
I believe we may be ready for an attempt.
Okay. All right. And I think as you finish the last calculations, that the lattice work, this kind of obsidian framed portal here, you start to see almost these tendrils that kind of stretch out. You start to see little, as you start to see beams of energy, of Dwemer traveling between these threads on here. And for but a moment, you see they all start to glow in between blues and orange, and it's just kind of getting to this like prismatic glow. And for, I think there's a blinding flash of light. And you see there is what looks like another place. You see before you are these stretching dunes of scarlet-colored sand, and then it shuts down. But Fiora looks at you and she goes, "I think you've... I mean, I know it just turned off, but Cordelius, I think you've... all that work, I think you've done it.
I think he's kind of like backed up against a counter, and he's got his hand on his hair, and he's like, "The web smiles upon us today," and he like runs over and kind of grabs her and like excitedly, "We must continue. We must continue."
Okay, and she starts writing down notes, and she's like, "Do you have a name for it yet?"
Mycothurgy.
Mycothurgy. All right. And
Mycothurgical teleportation. We've done it.
And she writes it down very quickly, this flourish of notes. And I think as the two of you are just there's this moment of revelry. And as the kind of that fungal network, that lattice work fades back into just simply that, there's still that little bit of resonant spark of Dwemer there. But you have the key. But how do you keep it open for a long extended of a period of time? That is what you're looking for in this moment. And I think as we see the two of you getting to work, going through notes, we kind of go into this almost montage of shots. We see and feel free to build off of this too, but we start to see like Cordy's hand stained with ink and blood, kind of trembling as you mix different regents together. We see shots of tome pages flipping violently, scrawled half-mad theories. As time goes on, and experiment after experiment after experiment, just kind of that growing fungal lattice continues to get bigger. The portal itself, the structure grows in size. What else is kind of happening here? What's going through Cordelius's mind? Give us some more kind of insight in this moment as these experiments are happening.
I think we see like a static shot of the workshop, and we see it kind of go through time, and you watch as it evolves and papers begin to pile up. And as you said, the portal gets bigger in its kind of ambition. And I think you see Cordy and Fiora kind of in like a time lapse around the workshop, trying different things. An explosion here, an eruption here of some kind of noxious spores.
She passes out. She just goes stiff, and then she looks at you.
And then I think what's going on is like, this is Cordy's life's work. I think, and that bit of seeing through the gateway, the vision of another place, was enough to kind of make it so that this will never leave his mind. And it's basically taken him over, and he is obsessed with figuring this out. And yeah, I think they just work and work and work, and he does not stop. He barely leaves this workshop. As you see the time lapse, he's there even when Fiora is not. And yeah, it takes him over.
Awesome. So as time passes, Cordelius and Fiora continue to experiment. Sometimes Cordelius late into the nights for days, almost in this manic-like state. Every experiment gives more information, but there's always something missing. We kind of push in on Cordelius, standing over these piles of notes. And we see this blank piece of parchment paper. Rather, not blank, but each of these experiments numbered. And on this piece of paper, we see number 427. And as Cordelius, as you stand there in this moment, you would see Fiora. She is passed out. Her head is down on the desk. She is sleeping, a little bit of snoring going on at this point. But you see her little leather-bound journal that she's kept all these notes for you over the months and years that she has apprenticed under you, worked with you, listened, observed, taken in this information. You would see on there pages filled with concise observations, gentle warnings of things not to do, kind of even counter arguments, because she always is trying to push Cordelius because she knows his potential, and kind of looking at some of his more radical theories. But what catches your attention in this moment, Cordelius, is something that lies atop her notes. A single dried mushroom. A simple thing, fragile, overlooked. And in that moment, Cordelius, there's a thought, I think, that runs through your mind. The mycelial network connects all things. But what is its purpose? What is fungus's purpose? Not life, not growth, decomposition. It does not simply link, it breaks down, it reduces, it consumes. So, I'm gonna have you make a roll for me in this moment. I'm gonna have
this
you
is making me realize that I didn't take my dice out of my drawer. Here we go. It's right here.
What? For shame.
I know, for shame. We are recording. Oh man, my Fallout jumpsuit's on top of that. Here we go, everybody.
Yeah. No, this is great. Behind the scenes, y'all.
Behind the scenes.
This is
how unprofessional of Jake.
It's all good.
All right.
2d12s. Those duality dice. And also, viewers, reminder, we are playing version 1.5 of the beta right now. So the rules might change a little bit when we get into the full show.
Hope and fear.
Hope and fear.
There we go.
All right.
Hope and fear.
Here we go.
Okay, that is a 20 with fear.
With fear. Okay. As you think on this, you look at this mushroom, this one that is starting to break down, fragile. It still has purpose, though. It feeds life to come. And in that moment, there's a realization: to travel the web, the body must become as fungus, decompose, and reconstitute elsewhere. In the moment, kind of as all this paperwork lays before you, all the theories you had before begin to shift. This is not mere translocation. It is a death of sorts, a shedding of the self into the unseen, reassembled elsewhere, beyond this place. As you figure out what you're missing. How does Cordelius react in this moment as all of these pieces are coming together?
I think he immediately runs and goes to wake Fiora, and like kind of shakes her awake with this tiny mushroom like in her face. That's it.
What? That's an old mushroom. What do you
Yes.
mean?
In order to travel the web, I need to die. Temporarily, we decompose through the web and are reassembled elsewhere. That's the missing link.
Okay. All right. How? I mean, I have some like poisonous mushrooms that we found in the forest. Do you want me to grab those? And how do we want to do this? Or do you mean this like theoretically? I'm
not quite sure yet myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. And she like starts going and grabbing. She grabs like a bunch of like old mushrooms. She's like, maybe we can just take these old ones and try that first. Maybe that will work. Let's give that a go. Maybe if we feed the portal with these kind of dying, decomposing mushrooms, maybe that'll be enough.
Yes.
I don't want anything to
Deceive
happen.
the web. Deceive the web.
Yes. And she like grabs you. Yes. And she runs and starts grabbing like all the old mushrooms and just like putting them into this basin. And she's just running around the shop. Her glasses fall off. She's like, I'll get those after. And she runs over and places it down in front of the desk or on the table in front of the portal there. And she says, all right, I mean, everything else has worked so far, but maybe we weren't feeding it enough. It needs to grow and to be powered, and everything in the world is infused, has Dwemer resonant. Maybe it just needs maybe. Hold on. Wait. Okay, I think this is gonna work. And she's like, what do you need from me, Cordelius?
I think his mind, like her asking that question, is kind of shifting his focus because he's just still laser focused on this. And so he's like, as always, please notate the findings. And, Fiora, thank you. Thank you for everything, for all of it.
Of course. This isn't... She looks at you. She crosses her arms. She's like, this is gonna work. This isn't goodbye, right?
Hells no, I'm gonna be somewhere else.
Oh God,
and it's gonna be fine.
She just like puts her. She's like, oh God. So, okay, I was terribly worried. I was like, I'm gonna have to pick up this whole shop, and I mean, most of it. I mean, I know I'm responsible for part of the mess, but like, there's a lot of stuff in here. And all right, gosh, don't do that to me. And she like punches him in the arm. Oh, gosh.
Well,
all right. Well, I'll notate everything. You have my word, and just. This is amazing work, Cordelius. I thank you for the opportunity to spend all these years with you working on this. It means a lot.
It means a great deal to me as well. It's my life's work, and it could not have been done without you. Trust.
Well, thank you for trusting me. All right.
All right. Well, and I think he kind of lays out some new parchment, and he begins to kind of talk it through. I think the idea that's in his head right now is during the ritual, you have to kind of feed the ritual with these mushrooms that we've just kind of worked out. But I think also in order to be able to do it yourself, I think you have to ingest something, and something has to change within your chemistry a little bit so that the web can be tricked in that way to believe that you are
in fact
part of it, basically.
I love it. Okay, so I think as you start to feed the web this mycelial lattice work within the portal that is so much bigger than it was when you first started, and I think too, Fiora would help as well, kind of going along. And you would see like pieces of it, and it's changed in such a way, it's transformed from the Dwemer and the work you have done, that like you'll see little strands of it reach out and pull the like kind of the decaying mushrooms into it and start to dissolve. And as you take some of the mushrooms yourself, they smell real bad. It's real bad. But you know what you have to do. You think in this moment, this is what I have to trick this into thinking I'm a part of it. So what does that look like, and kind of paint us a picture of what happens as you consume the fungus here.
I think he's going through that, like those thoughts that you just described, of like tricking it into, being part of it. And then as he kind of ingests this fungus and begins to kind of chew on it and think on it.
Mm-hmm.
His brain kind of instead focuses towards, no, I'm not tricking it. Now I am a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like his thoughts are shifting in that direction where it's not a trick. You do this, and to him at least, it means that he is now a part of this web that he has been obsessed with and focused on for many, many years. And I think he feels more hope in this moment than any of the previous attempts by far.
Mm-hmm. So as he thinks that I am a part of this, there is truth in that. You also, as a person of this world, like every living being, living thing, you are infused with Dwemer resonance. And as you consume that and you think on this, there's that hope. You've heard stories of members of a particular group called the Veilbound Covenant, that their kind of guides, they can see kind of Dwemer all around them, very much like the ethereal part of it. And in that moment, as you release that thought, you see the portal in a different way than you ever have. As these threads of Dwemer start to come out of it like a mycelial network spreading throughout under the earth. You see it stretching out, and it almost envelops you in this embrace. As pieces start to just kind of wrap around you, you feel the energy flowing through you. But in that moment, as this is still in somewhat of an experimental state, you consume in a certain amount, maybe not quite enough, but you see the lattice start to spasm violently. Kind of the sigils that are on it begin to flare. And you kind of hear this like shriek of echoes through the chamber as the raw Dwemer that is infused in this, that has been fed, this portal has been fed. You start to see the web starting to spin around. You would feel more lashing out and grabbing onto you as the air starts to shimmer around you, distort, fracture in place as this rift opens up, and you feel yourself getting pulled towards it as you see spores starting to appear all around you. Hundreds before you feel yourself pulled through space and time, and then you feel just that pressure, and it's almost like you're floating in like almost this stasis like state. You feel everything and nothing at the same time. And as you're pulled through this, strands of you just tethers. You feel yourself stop. And you're standing in a place where everything started, this fascination of fungus, as we find you at the place you grew up, as you're teleported to your home. What do we see when he arrives here in this location?
I think it kind of looks like a he's like maybe 30 feet into a forest, and just outside the tree line you can kind of see remnants of a village over there. Doesn't look particularly affluent or anything. He kind of looking into the forest now. It's very mossy with lots of little fungus on the trees, and it kind of looks that the deeper you go, the more dense it becomes. And it's like slightly swampy, slightly it's a little damp, and I was about to say foresty, but we know we're in the forest, so
that's okay. Extra, a little extra forest,
a little extra foresty,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very. He spent a lot of time in these woods as a kid.
As you sit there and reflect, maybe this wasn't the exact place you were intending. Maybe in your subconscious it was. We all have a place of beginning. Sometimes those are the moments where our purpose is shown to us. And I think as we see Cordelia standing just a few meters or so, about, like you said, 30 feet into the forest, you see kind of growing along the trees here are all these mushrooms, some of them bioluminescent, illuminating this place as if welcoming you and providing some sense of affirmation that all that time, all that effort, sometimes it pays off. As he takes this all in. Is there anything else? Yeah.
I think he kind of turns around and looks like deeper into the forest and begins to kind of walk that way. And he hasn't been here in years. But he still knows the way, and he kind of walks probably a good 10-15 minutes before he reaches an area where he again spent a lot of time as a kid, and it's this small cave that he found out here, and within it's full, absolutely full of all of these different mushrooms of various colors and sizes and shapes. And I think he sits here a moment and takes it all in. I think he's just, for someone who prides himself on his intelligence and his ambition, he's speechless for a long while out here and really takes the moment in. And I think in this cave there's probably like one big growth, like something massive, something, a being of its own to him, certainly. And he kind of, toward the end of his time, goes to that at the back and kind of just puts his hand out and touches it. And I think he maybe feels more connection to it than ever. And he kind of, hello, old friend.
As you say that, as you place your hand on this mushroom, Cordelius, there's still that lingering energy from passing through the portal. And in that moment, you would still see those Dwemer threads, and you would see it extends out of the mushroom that you're placing your hand on. It almost takes a moment. It takes a moment to just wrap around your fingers as if acknowledging your words, your presence. And in that same breath, as you see that, it's gone. Was it even really there? But there is a connection you feel deep within you.
I think he kind of draws his hand back and kind of looks at it and looks back. And then he just kind of looks around. How the hell am I going to get out of here? I don't think he thought that far ahead.
Yeah. So as you do that, you still have there are decomposing mushrooms here, and you have you know now what you need to do. I think as you traveled through space and time to get here, you know that you can take strands of mushrooms, kind of peeling them apart, making this lattice work, and knowing which ones to consume and being able to use that as a way to get back to where you just left. That said, as you do that, because this is the second time you've done this, I'm going to, as you start looking around and gathering what you need, I'm going to say in this moment, I'll say another knowledge roll here for me on this. And I'm not sure if there's any of your experiences that might come into play in this moment, but.
Ooh, well, yeah, that's true. I do have an experience called World Wide Web. Again, this is my first Daggerheart playthrough. But I have an experience called World Wide Web, which will give me a +2. Mm-hmm. And and then my knowledge is a +2 as well. So this will be a +4 on the roll.
+4. And I will say, because you have done this and you've spent, you've done 427 experiments. Let's be real. I will also give you advantage on this roll. So that's an additional D6 for me. So you get your duality dice, an additional D6, which will be added to the total of the roll. Mm-hmm. Your DC for this is going to be a 15. Let me know if you roll with hope or fear.
Okay. So that is let's see. 20, 22, 27 with fear.
With fear?
Yeah.
Okay. What does it look like as Cordelius weaves this new lattice work out of a place that he spent so much time growing up in? Learn to really the appreciation for what was possible with fungus and mushrooms. But yeah, kind of describe to us, what does this look like as he puts this all together in this moment?
I think he's probably got a bag with him, and he gathers the mushrooms that he needs from the place he's in, and he also takes a few from his bag that are probably rarer and harder to find, along with some arcane implements and things like that. And he takes a dust out from his bag, a bright blue kind of dust, and kind of makes a sigil on the ground with it. And this is I would think it's crushed fungus of some kind as well.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And he creates the sigil and connects it using this blue powder to that large mushroom as a conduit for the web. Okay. And begins to kind of perform this ritual all over again by himself in the dirt.
Okay.
And the moss and the growth.
Awesome. So as you do this, you get everything right. You know you need to, again, there is this becoming a part of it. So you know the process there is, I will need to consume to be able to do this again. And as you do that, you start to see kind of again those visions, the Dwemer threads swirling up around you, the energy glowing, going from blue and orange into that kind of menagerie of colors, this almost prismatic look. And it's in that moment where you know what you're doing, but there's also, with that roll with fear, how could this change the world? Could it be for the better? Could it be for the worse? There's still so much unknown to it. And I think as you are being pulled through again, there's that stress, that heaviness, that while you have created something incredible, all that ambition you had has led you to this moment. You think about other people you've crossed paths with, what they could do with it. And that fear, I think, would hit him in that moment. And I'm going to say you would take a stress from that as you are pulled back in to the portal. But with a 27, you end up back in your damn tower.
Yeah, I think as he kind of like bends down and touches the soil and kind of sinks his fingers in, and like we watch as like they begin to kind of like merge with everything and change color as everything begins to, and maybe like if you like, because I feel like the first time we saw it from Cordelius's perspective, right?
Yeah.
But maybe this time we linger on the place where he was for a moment. And I think as he kind of disappears, you see like this image of him that's left and like crumbles as he is gone.
And I'm going to build off of that too. So as he crumbles and it's gone, where he was, you start to see mushrooms growing up.
That's
from him. And you find yourself back in your workshop, and Fiora is just wide-eyed. She's got her glasses back, and so her eyes are even bigger in her glasses, and she's like, "Okay, you're alive." Oh, okay.
We've done it.
I had a full-on. Are you okay? Where were you? What happened? Tell me everything, please. I wrote down everything, by the way. When you disappeared, I was really freaked out.
Now that we figured it out, Fiora, I don't think we need a portal.
Oh.
The web, it's where it's concentrated strongest. You can use it as a conduit.
She just immediately starts writing this down. And she's like, here, and she hands you the picture. She's like, draw it so we can replicate it.
Yeah, I'll do my best. It's scrawling chicken scratch, just like,
real bad. She's like, actually, never mind. Just describe it to me. Just describe it to me.
And I go through the whole thing, but I tell her about where I was and how it was, the village where I grew up, and this large mushroom, and the how I replicated it to come back and things like that, and I think it's just celebration between the two of them. He runs to another room and comes back with like a bottle of something, and and puts 2 glasses down and pours 2 fast swigs into each glass, and he hands her the other glass. I'm not often speechless, Fiora.
I know. I'm just kidding.
This will change the world.
It will. And she'll cheers you.
Yep. Takes a sip.
Mushroom liquor? I mean, it's okay, but like it's
not the best. I'll be honest. I love
wonky.
It, but it's not the best.
Yeah, I think maybe we should add some spices to it next time.
Yes.
It's getting better. I mean,
Right, well, change the flavor profile next time. And he like opens up a notebook and it's like attempt number 327 of or like 340 of whatever this mushroom liqueur is.
Yeah. It's getting there though. It's getting there. It's just it's a little too earthy, if that makes sense.
It's the umami taste is very
I agree.
Interesting in a drink.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and I think as she actually does drink a little. She's like, I don't hate it though. I mean, I like the way it makes me feel. She places it down, and I think in that moment, you would see, you would hear a knock on the door to the tower, and Fiora she'd look over and she'd walk over to the door and open it up, and you would see a familiar figure there, a page. Delivers supplies and things. You all are always running out of parchment paper and ink. And you see Xavier walk in. He has a bunch of scrolls and ink in hand. He looks exhausted and worn down. But he places it down and he has like a little cap on, and he sits down and
Xavier, have a drink.
Oh, sure. He grabs a glass and takes a sip and sorry, this will probably be my last day that I'll be able to deliver to you both.
What?
Have you not heard what's happening? I know you get lost in your work a lot.
Is something going on?
Yes. And as he says, he takes a long sip. Oh.
Yes, it's bad. It's not great.
It's fine. It'll be better once it starts to hit. But there's something evil falling upon the lands. The veil between Lacuna and Atalantia is wavering. Cities are falling. People are fleeing by boat to a place called the Faraway. The Arcanists are doing everything they can to build a barrier to protect the people, but they need our help. And I was a fighter in the Guard for a time, and I'm heading to Cicatrix Grove to help aid, to give the Arcanist time to...
What? Is... Is this the first I'm hearing about any kind of struggle at all? Yeah.
And I think it's Fiora and Cordelia's kind of... I mean, when you get lost in your work, you have blinders to things.
Yeah.
You can have blinders to things going on outside the world. But this is the first time you are hearing, and he would actually mention something, and you would know about what he is about to mention. He would say, there's armies and resistance gathering at Cicatrix Grove to put up a last stand against the Tenebrous and Twilight.
Last stand. We're already at the brink.
It's happening quickly. Something truly powerful is at work.
I think his expression from his celebration kind of fades slowly, and he's confused because he's very, he knows he just changed Arcana for the future and for the whole world, and what this means is incredible. And then at the same time, he's having thoughts of, have I wasted my life in this tower? Have I shut everything out so much that I don't even know that we're about to perish? Is it all for nothing? And I think that's the thoughts that kind of run through his head at this moment.
I think Fiora knows Cordelius enough, his expressions. I think she would walk over to him and place her hand on his wrist and give him a little squeeze, and she would say, "Perhaps we should pack up our belongings and Xavier, you said they're gathering people on boats and sending them. The Arcanist is sending people to safety?" And he would look, "Yes, there can only take so many, but there is still time. If the two of you want to leave, I'm staying."
It's a good idea, Fiora. Begin packing things up.
All right.
We'll get you on the first boat out.
What do you... Us on the first boat out?
No.
Cordelius, I'm not leaving without you.
Fiora, you will protect the research we've done. You'll take it with you. And I will head to battle. I have to help. I've shut myself off. Mycothurgy can help. We can get people there in an instant. Get me there in an instant. I can help them.
All right. I'll take everything I can. I'm not thrilled about this, but you are right. We have to protect this. We cannot let it fall into the hands of whatever is coming upon our lands. Will you meet me there, though?
I think I kind of grab her hands. I will see you again, Sporekeeper. Do not let this research fall into the hands of those who would wield it for their own gain.
She looks at him and she says, "I will protect it with my life. You have my word." And I think she would say it. She'd say, "And Cordy, I thank you for everything you've done. You've taught me so much. And I like the title, Sporekeeper. So thank you."
I'm not sure which of us is the student and which is the teacher. Now, let's go. And he just begins to gather everything he's going to need. And it's interesting. Cordy's got an interesting personality. At one point, like at one moment, he's very sentimental, and at the next, he's let's get to work. You know, and I think he gathers up the things he needs. He helps Fiora put the things together. He, grabs all the research that is necessary and things like that. Definitely, of course, the notebook that has basically experiments 1 all the way to 427. Like he grabs all of those books. We need to keep it all. And
I agree.
And on top of it, he kind of, takes just all the different fungus he can grab and things like that, and prepares himself, grabs any kind of he's a powerful wizard. I'm sure he's got some kind of some arcane implements to bring with him and stuff like that. So
absolutely.
And he kind of prepares for battle. Xavier, and he calls him in.
Yes.
Eat this, and he basically shoves it in his mouth.
And I think as you do that, like we see we see that shot of you feeding him that piece of fungus. He's like, what the? Fiora loads up a small crate with all the things packed into it onto a carriage, and you see her like look at you through the doorway, and she just gives a little wave. And you see she goes away as Xavier's like, ugh, okay, that tasted worse than the mushroom liquor. That was so bad. Okay. So why did you give that to me, by the way?
I think Cordy kind of like grabs him by the shirt, because we're going to Cicatrix Grove. And
I don't have any weapons.
He begins the process.
And I think as that happens, we see kind of again all of the he like starts looking. He's like, is this supposed to be happening? He starts looking around as all of these like energy, the Dwemer tethers just start reaching out and latching onto you as this portal starts to open, and like you almost start to go into the ground again.
I think Cordy kind of turns to him, like kind of pats him on the chest. You're only the second person in the world to do this. Let's go.
As you're pulled into this, you're pulled into the mycelial network. As you're swirling through space and time, we're gonna cut away from Cordelius for a moment and Xavier, as we find ourselves at the heart of the battle. Cicatrix Grove, the last stand against the Tenebris in the encroaching twilight. We would see what looks like a dying sun bleeding across the horizon, swallowed by kind of this creeping, unnatural gloom. The air itself here is thick with this acrid stench of burning earth and the iron tang of spilled blood. Trees, ancient and gnarled, wither as if something ancient, a malevolent hunger spreads through their roots as the true unraveling is here. There's this tremor in the ground, screams rise beneath the war cries of the dying. The Tenebris, these nightmarish creatures, spawn from Ocularis, this endless hunger like locusts, consuming. These swarms of carnage, relentless and consuming. And amongst all of this, as the twilight waits for no one, we see this blinding light flash as a burst of spores rends through this kind of smoke-choked battlefield, as we see Cordelius and Xavier emerge from nothingness. Your mycothurgical teleportation tearing the air apart in front of you, and in this moment you see what is happening around you. Soldiers fighting against the twilight itself, these haunting creatures, these shadowed locusts, almost incomprehensible in your mind as you see them moving unnaturally. You see Xavier, a soldier falls next to him. He picks up a shield and sword and just charges into it. What is Cordelius doing as he sees all of this, like in bullet time, happening?
I think he is kind of immediately is just like, holy shit, okay, and he just kind of gets to work and looks for the best way he can help. I mean, his whole world's just been turned upside down in like half a second. Everything's chaos.
Yep. And I think too, like in that moment, it just, there's also, I think there might be that realization too of like, this was brought to your attention, kind of blocking out the whole world, putting all this time and energy into something that could be snuffed away in a matter of seconds. And I think it just shows the gravity of how powerful the Twilight is, the Tenebris, and the overwhelming odds in this moment. And as you kind of look around and start to think, I do need you to make an instinct roll for me in this moment.
Ooh, instinct roll. Okay.
Instinct roll. Yes. As you kind of try to figure out like what to do as you see all of this chaos happening around you.
Okay. What is that? Oh my god, if I could read my dice. Okay. That is a 12 with hope.
Oh, with hope? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good, it's good that it's with hope. Still, yeah, so you don't notice though. So make sure you take a hope. That's something you do get. When you roll with hope, you get a hope. You get to add that to your stockpile there. You don't notice this swirling shadow forming around you. Kind of amongst all the chaos, it moves just low like a wave as this shrieking detonation of eldritch fury just and you feel yourself, you see this blinding flash of light, and you're kind of pushed back from the explosion from it, and you see as you're pushed back from this explosion, you see this creature, kind of like its shoulder blade almost, it kind of takes more of a form. It's almost dripping with this dark ichor, that as it hits the ground, it just plumes out into a shadow. But you see like its shoulder blade is like jutting out of its back, these long kind of curling horns, this disjointed jaw as it's charging towards you. But in that moment, well, I guess what does he do in that moment as he sees this thing charging at him?
I think he's going to shoot an arcane barrage up at it.
Okay.
So I will use an action to use 2 hope and send that many magical projectiles that automatically strike an enemy within close range. I'll roll. Okay. I'm figuring out my mechanics, everybody. Okay, so I roll
all good.
An amount of D6 equal to the hope I spent.
Okay.
That's going to be 6 damage.
6 damage. Okay.
Yeah.
And is it an attack? Do you have to, is it an auto hit or is it?
It's an auto hit.
Oh, hell yeah. So what is your, the arcane barrage look like? So you reach out, but what does the energy look like as you summon this in this moment?
I think Cordy's magic is like very like purple, like it's got like purple streaks that come off the back of it and stuff, and kind of like almost like fractals that like trail it as it flies, and they kind of look like they like come to like a point, and it's like this and like just stab right into the thing.
Amazing. As it stabs it, it gets knocked back. As it does, it almost bends unnaturally, like a it almost like it bends its this kind of the spinal column, just and it flips over, and you actually see it like stand up to its true height after you hit it. It stands about 15 feet tall, and you just see these almost these other arms, just like that you didn't see before, come out of the sides of it with these long dripping claws. But in that moment, you kind of see out of your peripheral, you see like what almost looks like wings. Thomas, could you tell Cordy what he sees in this moment as this figure emerges on the battlefield?
You see a beautiful winged figure, like an angel on the battlefield, swooping down, descending on rosy wings with ivory skin and eyes of emerald green. As gently and softly, he flies down, standing right beside you, and says, "I'm sorry, but, do I know you from somewhere? You look horribly familiar."
I think Cordy thinks he might have died. He thinks he might already be dead. I don't believe we know each other, but am I dead?
I mean, I don't think so, unless that fancy entrance you made killed you in the process. I'm just speaking to a ghost, but you seem fairly solid and meaty at the moment, so I wouldn't.
Meaty. Okay.
So.
Okay. Yes.
I must
All
say
right.
that it was quite the flashy entrance to make, especially for the end of things, but...
Of course. Well, I can discuss it with you once we deal with him, and I'll shoot a great staff, it's like a magical weapon with like a very far range, so I'm assuming there's just like a beam that comes out of it.
Oh, hell yeah.
In that same kind of purple, with like maybe some traces of green coming off.
Dope.
So I roll.
I love it.
Still trying to figure this out.
So you see, like,
roll.
as you're having that conversation, you see the creature. It's the two arms that extended out. It almost thrusts itself, and you see it like flying over the top of you, and as like over Roshin and kind of almost eclipsing. And you see its arm actually starts to form like what looks like a great, like it almost looks like a dripping great axe, and it's just going to slam down. Yeah. Go ahead and roll that attack.
All right. That is a 19 with fear.
With fear.
Oh, sorry. Wait, hold on. 21 with fear.
With fear.
Yeah.
Okay. So you release that energy against that creature. You see as it hits, the arm actually gets hit off of it. You see it starts to like, it's just dripping, and you start to see a new one forming out of it, and but it stumbles back, and you would see Xavier like run over with his sword and like try to attack it, and you just see it turns around, grabs him like with its one of the other arms kind of on his, and just tosses him to the side with that fear roll.
I killed that boy. I brought him here unprepared. Oh my god.
But as on top of that, I'm actually going to, because you roll with fear, I'm going to spend some fear, and I'm going to spotlight another enemy. As the two of you hear what sounds like this, you hear a new sound that kind of splits the air. It's low and a chittering screech, like 1,000 knives scraping against bone. You see this tenebra surge forward. Their twilight forge form, shifting like living nightmares. You just see, it looks like as it's running towards the two of you, and kind of out of the distance, you would see what looks like a, I would describe it as a, it almost looks like a large predatory cat. But you see that its face is actually like, it opens up, top and bottom, and also to and fro. And you would see that there are these like, this double barbed tongue coming out of it. running towards you full speed. And I'll say that's just me spotlighting it. Roisin, what do you see this kind of, it's charging behind, like it's going to attack Cordelius in this moment from behind as you see it running towards you. You would hear it and like see it behind you as this thing's running forward.
Roisin just very calmly lifts up the scythe, the harp that he holds in his armored hand. He just lifts it up, points it towards the creature, and says, "Break from me," as he's going to attack with it.
Okay.
So, that was bad. That is going to be a 9 with fear.
Ooh. Okay. With fear, I think in this moment, oh God. Well, hey, it's the end of the world. So, you see, you point towards this creature. It seems to be unfazed. And Cordelius, like over your shoulder, you would see one of these like barbed tongues shoot out. And you see it would grab like onto Roisin's chest. And as it does, it's like a lamprey. It just kind of and you feel just kind of it like pulling your life force away from you, which is a strange feeling. As you see Roisin kind of just tossed behind.
No!
And then it moves towards you in this moment. As you kind of just see this figure get thrown back in this moment. I gotta roll a little bit of damage. Okay, 7 points. 7 points of damage on that.
Ooh, okay, so that is.
Oh no, that's on Roisin.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Where are my health things? 7. Okay, so that is major damage. I'm gonna spend an armor slot.
Okay.
So it's just
okay.
1.
Amazing. Okay. So as you see Roisin get thrown back from that attack, the creature kind of shifts its focus towards you. It stalking, and the in this moment too, you would see kind of out of like where its shoulder blades would be, forming are almost like these double pincers. And it starts to come towards you. What do you do?
Let's see.
And it is not moving fast. It is stalking. It is just like coming to finish its job.
Yeah, I'm trying to like figure out what I can do with my. Because I'm a squishy little wizard, man.
You are a squishy little wizard.
Let's see. Okay. I will. All right. I will use the great staff again and try to make another attack at this thing as it stalks me because it's ranged, and I'm gonna try to just like kind of hunker down and keep things like away from me, almost like kind of holding a torch out while there's like monsters coming at you, you know?
Oh yeah. Okay. Amazing.
And doing that, and at the same time, I want to open a line of telepathy between me and Roisin.
Okay.
Are you still alive? I might need you here.
It'll take more of a map to kill me.
Oh, good. And I'll shoot off that great staff shot.
Amazing. Go ahead and make that attack. A little combat in this origin story.
Ooh, yeah, fun. All right, that one is a 18 with hope. So I gain a
18
hope.
with hope. Yeah, you gain a hope and you hit it because that is higher than its evasion. Mm-hmm.
Nice. And then my great staff has the powerful ability, so I roll 2 damage die and take the highest.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. Sick.
Both are 2. So,
super fun.
It's just two.
Just two. Okay. It hits it, and it just like as you release the energy and you kind of make that connection to Roshin. Roshin, you would see where you land. You get hurt a little bit. You're still up, but you would see the creature take the hit and just continue to move towards Cordelius, and I think in that too, you would see the twilight is pushing further and further in. And as you look out, you would see thousands of beady white eyes as the darkness is encroaching, just looking at you as you stare in that direction. With hope, you all are still kind of, because there's no initiative in Daggerheart, you all roll with hope. So there's still a moment. So Roshin can act in this moment as you're seeing this, as you're tossed back.
And just so you know, that line of telepathy is now open and like remains open. So you can talk to me if needed. It's not like I can only contact you through.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I think Roshin is going to take the moment to sort of stand up, dust himself down, gather himself, and look the multiple eyes down. As he just stares and bears witness to it. Before he turns around and in just like a flurry of feathers, he's going to race to the monster, past the Tenebris, and is just going to scoop up Cordy in his arms and begin flying away as telepathically he just says, "This seems Pyrrhic. I think we're better elsewhere at the current moment. Agreed?"
Agreed! As I'm flying away.
Incredible. Okay, so as you're flying away from the kind of the diamond white eyes that are looking at you, it continues to push further and further. And I think as you're flying away from it, what you would see would also be a very powerful sight. In the distance, it would almost look like the sky was rippling. And you would see a figure up in the air, and you would see this Infernus woman holding this prism in her hand and making quick movements with her hand. And as you're flying towards that, you would also see something else, almost from within the eyes in the background, like a star falling from the sky, land on the ground, rolling. And you would see, like, as it stands up, you would see this centurion, this hulking beast, in heavy armor, almost made of the stars themselves. And as you're flying away, you would see it pulls out this like long hooked chain, and it throws it towards you. Go ahead. And it just seems to, this chain seems infinitely long, and you're a few hundred meters away, and you just hear the sound of the chain just coming towards you. You hear it. It's just getting louder and louder and louder and louder. This is going to be a big roll right here. This is going to be an agility roll for me. DC, I will tell you right now, is a 25.
And this is me?
Yep.
Okay. This is 7 and 11 is 18. And I don't have anything in agility.
Okay.
So what I am gonna do... Wait, it's a DC 25. It is quite literally impossible for me to reach that.
So Cordy, you'd have to crit, or Cordy, do you have? You could, if you want to try and help in this moment, maybe help try and deflect this as it's coming towards you. You can get, because that will give Roisin an extra D6 to roll.
I don't believe I have any way to try to deflect it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing that I have on my character sheet that will do that for me.
I mean, I have one thing I can try.
Okay.
I'm going to spend 3 hope to use Luckbander. So once per session, after you or an ally in close range make an action roll, you can spend 3 hope to reroll the duality die and must take the new result.
This is so cool. This is so cool. All right.
Nope, that is a 13 with hope.
Oh, man.
You feel as the hooked chain hits, it almost barbs out, and it would actually extend. You would feel it hit you, Roisin, and in that it would also extend out, almost like a cage. And as it hits you, kind of enveloping you both, and the two of you, because you wouldn't be able to fly anymore, just onto the ground. And hold on. It's a centurion, so this is okay. So that's 14 points of damage on that roll. On that damage. So as you hit the ground, and you would feel, and as you're kind of trapped within this cage, it would just be that you're just being pulled back towards it in this moment. And it would be this thing would have a helmet on, and the helmet is almost the helmet on this creature has a very like sharp, angular bottom to it, with like almost fractaled out on the bottom, like metal fractals, as it's pulling you towards it. And you would feel, as it is, energy leaving you again, kind of that any of your kind of the dwemer that resides within you, your life essence, this tether to this world, you would feel it being drained, as if it is ceasing to exist in you. And as you're pulled forward, kind of as it is just almost a constant reduction of the health within you. What are kind of these fleeting moments, these fleeting, as this thing is pulling you towards it?
I
or you can attempt some stuff too. I'm cool with that too.
I think for Cordelius, his thoughts are kind of, what can I do? How can I get out of this? How can I make sure that I live? And I think he kind of looks around. There's no way for him to attempt. He's being dragged, right? Maybe as soon as he is like stationary, he's going to try as fast as he can to reach into the web and maybe be pulled from this place, hoping that his angel friend can escape. But I don't know.
Okay. What's Roisin thinking? What's as you just feel each drag?
Roisin's just thinking, feeling the life force being slowly drained out of him, that this whole thing is terribly ironic. And looking up into the sky and just seeing the growing ocularm, the thousands upon thousands of eyes spreading across the heavens like stars. He is just going to turn to Cordy and say, "What's your name?"
Cordelius.
Cordelius. I am Roisin Dubois, and it's a pleasure to meet you. I'll try my best to remember you. As seeing Cordy is trying to do something, Roisin is going to stare the Centurion in the eye as all the colors around him sort of grow and intensify as he's going to try to enrapture the Centurion so that Cordy has a moment to do something.
Oh,
Shit. Okay.
So I have to make a spellcast roll against the target.
Okay.
Try to get their attention. And you know what? I'm also going to use an experience. Oh wait, does experience take 2 hope? Or is it 1? I can't remember.
No. Your experience is just something you can... This is a thematical thing. It's something from your background that works in this moment. So you could add it to this roll, depending on what experience it is.
but
So
I believe you spend 1 hope for each experience you want to add to your roll.
Oh, perfect.
Brilliant.
Okay, that's right.
I have
that's
1
right.
hope remaining from that last roll.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dope. Thanks, Jake.
So
Of course.
there's going to be a moment where Roisin almost lets the glamour that covers himself slip. As there's a moment where he appears in the full unbridled appearance, beautiful and terrifying of a Lenon she. As I'm going to use my terrible beauty experience to try to enrapture the Centurion.
Oh, I love experiences. They just add such a cool flavor.
Yeah.
So that is a 3 with fear with my experience. That makes it a 5.
Oh no! Oh no!
Okay. So I think as you go to do that, you try to enrapture this figure, and with your life force being pulled from you, that same presence that you've had before is fading. And this thing seems to, at least, or maybe in this moment, seems unbreakable. And as that final pull, the two of you are on the verge of taking your last breath. The cage that was the hook opens, and Cordy, you would see the figure reach down, pick up Roisin, raise him up to his face. You have your moment.
I think seeing that, Cordy will kind of look up and maybe they lock eyes for a moment. And I think he telepathically says to you in that fraction of a second, "It's been nice knowing you." And then he kind of dives his hands deep into the ground, and you see the magic of that same blue kind of come up his fingers as they begin to change color, and he begins to kind of like decompose almost as if he's beginning a teleport. And I think there, I'll pass it back to you as he's like kind of in the middle of it.
Amazing. So as you're doing that, kind of as your body, you're
One
trying
last
to
thing
tell.
I'll add. I'm sorry to
go for it.
interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
Telepathically after that, "I'm sorry," and that's it.
Okay.
Sorry, that's important.
No, it is super important. No, totally fine. Don't sweat it at all. So as that's happening, kind of as you focus all the energy, you would be at an angle where you would see this happening, Roisin. But in hearing that, "I'm sorry," that last thing before you see the figure squeeze you tighter, and you'd feel these kind of clawed gauntlets piercing into you. And it would not say anything, but the presence of it is so heavy, almost like the world is just, all the weight of the world is being pushed on you in this moment. But you're giving someone a chance to do something. And as you kind of as it just kind of squeezes you, and you just feel the gauntlets go more into your skin. You feel your ribs kind of being cracked. What are Roshin's kind of final thoughts in this moment?
Roshin, for as much of a romantic as he is can be quite the pragmatist at times.
Mm-hmm.
He knew walking into Cicatrix Grove, as someone who has watched countless brilliant flames burn out over all this time, he knows when the end is coming, when the curtain is closing, and with sort of the last ounce of all the beauty of the world that he can muster, there's just the silent acknowledgement that all that beauty means nothing in the face of oblivion.
Mm-hmm. As those final thoughts go through your mind, like a rag doll, he just throws you. Like just one less of the scourge left in Atalantia as you on the ground. And I think as you land, your head looking over towards Cordelius, as you see Roshin land in your decomposing into the ground, kind of in that last moment of life, Roshin, you see the chain going down to basically smash Cordelius but as it goes down, that decomposition is complete as the strikes. And in that moment, Cordelius, you feel your life slipping. Your spellcraft collapsed. But you escape in a way. As you feel your consciousness swirling through this mycelial web, wild and untamed, but in a way that's too fast and too far. What are the final thoughts before you lose that connection to your body and self?
I think he is probably under... You know what? I'm just going to say, we're in the Battle of Cicatrix Grove. I think, mechanics-wise or not, Cordy's stress fills all the way up. And I think because of that, as his kind of ritual is interrupted a bit at the end there, there's like kind of like something that breaks. And as he begins to do this decomposition, his consciousness gets separated from what once was his body, and is, rather than funneled and traveling, spreads and just begins to spread into the web as far as possible. And Cordy is gone, but his consciousness lives on in fractals of its former self as it spreads throughout the web. And I think as Cordy is gone, maybe in Roshin's last moment, you see these mushrooms and fungus kind of come up over the axe blade that's in the ground and like kind of hold it there for a second and like hold it in place, as he is spread out and is no more.
And as we end on that final shot of the blade being held by the mushrooms before it is yanked out, and the sky is no longer that crimson color, but this perpetual twilight, as the unraveling is here. And that's where we're going to end our origin story, on that note.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
I wasn't expecting that. Got crazy at the end.
That was wild.
that was awesome. Thank you to that was so much fun. And Thomas, thanks for popping in for an appearance here.
Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thomas.
Happy to
But yeah, y'all. So that's Cordelius's origin story. We got a couple more left for you. So tune in as we ramp up for the release episode 1 of our Daggerheart campaign, the last Arcanist. Oh my god, I can't even talk. But with that said, join us next time as we escape the mundane and dive into the realms of Atalantia. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye.